Hello guys, it's me Vardhan here. Today we will be talking about this pen. It's the ASA Nauka. So you guys must have seen that I am not very active on YouTube nowadays. I have my class 10th and so it becomes quite difficult for me. Anyways, and yes, regarding the ink videos, I'll try my best, but I cannot promise you guys anything now. I'm sorry. Anyways, so we'll start with the top of the pen. As you can see, it's brushed. Actually, the entire pen is brushed. I opted for that particular finish, and this is the clipless version, so it is all smooth here, no seams, etc. It is nice. Then tapers at the top, and then it goes down pretty much straight, and then here just at the lip it kind of like becomes a bit thinner. So the pen unscrews in, it's a bit tight actually. It unscrews in 1, 2, 2.5 turns basically. So here we have the nib. Now the nib, just a minute. Yeah, so the nib is actually ASA branded, and which is quite interesting. I don't know who the manufacturer is. The nib is ASA branded, and you can get it in fine, medium, and broad. And of course, you have the Yovo and Bock Schmidt options, not Bock Schmidt options. But I opted for this, and it comes with a standard ebonite feed. And so yeah, so it's an eyedropper filled pen. Here you have the threads. So instead of threads being here, they're here, and so you can hold the pen anywhere you want. Becomes a bit easier to write. Then this is the body of the pen. It kind of like is a streamlined shape. It helps in the gripping of the pen. Then here at the tip, it kind of like just like the cap, kind of like tapers. Then it's brushed there. Now the pen unscrews from here, so if you look at it like this, it's not very easy to see the seam, but then if you unscrew it, you can see it. You unscrew the entire thing. There are a lot of threads and they're pretty sticky for some reason. Yeah, so you have this here. The measurements I'll give you after giving my opinion. Okay, so now regarding my opinion on the pen. Okay, so I like the design a lot of the pen. It's not something truly original exactly. You can Google old Win fountain pens, you can get a similar looking pen, but it's much cheaper. This Nauka is much cheaper than that and easier to get. Anyways, so what I do like a lot about this pen is the finish. In the past I haven't have very good experience with ASA pens finish. They were a little bit rough, but now in this pen the finish is quite nice. There are no visible imperfections except for a few spots here and there, which is the nature of the ebonite, which I don't really care about. And overall the pen feels pretty nice in the hand. It has got some heft to it, but being an ebonite pen, it is a bit lighter than you would expect. And now we are coming to the so-called dislikes of the pen, I suppose. One of the things which I don't like about the pen is this. The threads. You can see the threads aren't perfect. I don't know why that is, but they are not cut very nicely. Okay, so they're a bit rough, and that sometimes hinders the capping and uncapping experience for me, but I can live with it, I suppose. It's not a huge issue, but there's something to point out. Now, another thing is that this end is a bit pointy, so I have to be a bit careful about it. And regarding the nib is I got the broad option because I like wider nibs. Excuse me. So one of the issues with the nib I had was baby's bottom issues. Now, if you don't know about that, what happens is that instead of the tines being basically like this, this is one tine, this is one tine. What happens is that here at the tip they should be like this, right? What happens is this. So they are over polished at the top. So what happens is that the ink is unable to reach to the paper or at the tip of the nib, to be precise. Yeah, so that's the nib. I got I figured it out a little bit. Basically wrote a lot with it, so it's better now. And another issue I had was with the filling mechanism. Of course, it's an ED filled pen or eyedropper filled pen, so you fill the barrel with ink. Now, one of the problems with doing that is that as the ink level falls, the air here is more, and with the heat of your hand, the air can push the ink out forcefully. And I thought that won't be an issue with this pen that much because, that this compared to this. Okay, so yeah, it's a much smaller ink capacity, but I was wrong. This too leaks if you have not much of ink here. Basically, it burps. Okay, if you know that term. So while writing, sometimes what happens is a blot of ink from here would come out. So you have to keep it filled up till I would say this point, and you'll be okay. But that's pretty much the issue I had with the filling mechanism. But then that's the nature of almost all eyedropper filled pens. Now I would like to point this out. Most probably, if you go with the German nib unit option, you won't get this. Sorry, you won't get this particular feed. You would get a much finer fin feed, like in this. So I suppose that would be able to handle the excess ink flow, and you won't notice that. I haven't noticed that with this pen, and this one which I showed you, this can be used as ED as well. So I haven't noticed that with these, so I suppose you won't notice that if you get the same nib unit on this pen as well. So that's that. The just a minute. Yeah. So regarding the measurement. Yeah, so regarding the measurements, so capped the pen is 163 millimeters, and why isn't it focusing? Yeah, capped the pen is 163 millimeters. Okay, then uncapped it is like this. It is about 140 millimeters. Then posted, the pen is 180 millimeters, and just the cap is about 73 millimeters. Then the pen, excuse me, here at this, yeah, at this point, the pen is 15 millimeters. Then at its thinnest point here at the tip, it's about 4 millimeters in length. Then the cap at its girthiest point is about 19 millimeters, and the pen here at this point is about 13 millimeters. So now I'll show you the writing sample. Yes, so the pen for today is ASA Nauka. Okay, and I think I'll try to keep this as straight as possible. And the ink for today is Daytone Deep Black, and the paper is Rhodia 80 GSM. What shall we write today? We shall write yeah, excuse me, some insects. It's rainy season after all. Okay, another sample, very fast writing. I cannot write fast now, can I? It's quite difficult for me. Anyways, regarding the flow, no complaints I have whatsoever. Of course, the flow also depends upon the amount of ink you have in the pen, and if you have lesser amount of ink, the flow would obviously be a little bit wetter, even to the point of unusable sometimes. Anyways, and so, you know, like I said, this nib had baby's bottom issues. So what had happened was, a normal fountain pen nib is like this, okay, and then it goes like this, right? This is a bit dramatized, but yeah, this is how it is. What had happened was that this had happened. So you see, it is, so if the ink kind of comes here, it would be able to reach here, but this is the writing surface. In normal pens it is not an issue, but here the ink would not reach the paper, so it used to become very difficult. So yeah, that's that. And regarding line variation, I find this nib to be not very giving in terms of line variation, but you can notice a little bit of difference while writing. So thin line, this is the maximum I can push this nib to. So yeah, that's that. And reverse writing, yeah, I would not recommend it. It's not very pleasant to write with. So guys, that's it for this video. So like I said earlier, I'll try my best to upload the ink videos as well, and one more video somebody had requested regarding pens and inks. I'll try my best. I'll try to upload it in this, I'll try to upload it by the end of October, but maybe it may take me like 6 months more, I don't know, because class 10 is a bit hectic. Anyways, so that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time if the world does not end.